I had a mate growing up who was a mad V8 supercar fan, and he was. I couldn't not convince him, Purple, that it wasn't Brocky.
Yeah,
King of the Mountain. I go, no, mate. It's not. It's nothing to do with
In
it.
the Tirana.
Yeah, this bloke said, no, it is, mate. It is. That's what it is.
Rocky. What a
Nice,
legend.
exactly. Nice to see you, Purple.
Hello, Jim. Nice to see you
There's
too,
some
and you
big
too, Bill
games.
and Rebsy.
Hello,
Yeah, they were. weren't they?
Damian.
Before we start, Buddy Franklin is appealing that
So he should.
that ban he got from the match review office, which deemed his hit on Trent Cotchin to be intentional. Which
Well, let's go through it quickly.
Yeah.
Yes, it was intentional.
that's why I think he's going to fall
Yeah, that's
down
right.
with his appeal. Yeah.
Low impact. Yes,
Yeah,
it was low impact.
Yep.
And high contact.
I don't know
Yes, it
how.
was.
I'm keen to see how they argue it's not intentional
you,
because the contact I think's undeniable. Now, again, if it wasn't contact, it means Trent Cotchin's acted, but
No, it
I
was
don't
contact.
see that being the case.
Was
So
it a open hand or a fist?
I think it was
matter.
open hand.
Open
No,
hand.
the way they've worded it, it actually doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, that's
it's
right.
just the conduct being intentional in terms of what the match review officer said, and I think that's going to be the stumbling block when it comes to the
I'm with you.
case. But
Also, Jacob Wiedering, can you give us an update on him?
there's no specific update that I've got, Bill. But the way Michael Voss spoke and the way people are talking out of Carlton today, it's going to be of the 5 to 6 week nature of time on the sidelines, which puts it in a very worrying period for Carlton.
It does, exactly. And especially with Mackay. He's got to come back soon, too. That'd be
Yeah,
nice.
he's still some time away, but
Is he?
obviously you've got Pittonet. I think he is, unless you've got some mail that I haven't got. Is he back this week?
Who? Mackay?
Mackay.
No, I wasn't sure.
No.
The other one is Bobby Hill, of course.
Yeah,
What's,
played the game on the
did
weekend for
play.
GWS
Yeah.
and had been diagnosed prior to the game with testicular
Yep.
cancer, which will now keep him out of the game indefinitely.
Well, we wish him well.
We do,
It's,
bloody oath.
very serious, and we've had other amazing how many players we've had with that same affliction.
Well, Sam Doherty, obviously, and Ben Cunnington.
Yeah.
And the Doherty story is one of the amazing stories of 2022.
Well, why don't we start there with the Blues and the Maggies, because what a cracking game of footy.
80.
They looked home and hosed
Yeah.
the Maggies about 4 minutes out.
Bloody
and
oath they did.
Suddenly, bang, 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 and it was, wow, this could be stolen from
And the
them.
Jack Silvani kick in the last 20 seconds, apparently missed by about a foot, is
Yep.
what he's telling people today. So that's pretty close.
He was disappointed after the game, wasn't he, poor
Yeah.
old Jack? But was it a free kick to Walsh?
Yeah, look, I think it was, but at the same time, I don't think.
No, I'm
I'm
happy
glad they
for
didn't pay it,
Exactly,
because as an observer, I didn't want that game decided that way. But again, as is often the case with AFL rules, if they'd paid it, they'd be saying it was the right call. But no, I'm glad they didn't. And you're right, Jim. The 23-point lead they had with not much time to go. I mean, for Curnow to kick 4 goals on Darcy Moore the way he did, as good as Darcy Moore was, and that last goal he kicked, with the big clunk from 55, and there's something about that guy. But look, they didn't get the job done. But Mason Cox was quite incredible yesterday.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree. I thought Collingwood were great for most of the game. They just nearly buggered it up at the end. But how good were the pictures down the ground from behind the goals of 80,000 people?
Yeah. Yes.
So I love that Twilight Sunday slot anyway. It's just a great look when the G's got a good amount of people in it leading into the new. I reckon it's almost my favourite to sit in front of the fire and watch. It was a cracking
On the Sunday,
game.
and it was built up, wasn't it? I mean, from this day last week when we knew this game was coming, we just hoped there was going to be 80,000, and then we got the tick straight away. We then hoped it was going to be a good game, and it lived up to everything.
He's going to be a superstar, but make some mistakes. Henry.
Yeah.
He can do some
Well,
good
good
things.
stuff.
The fact he's come back and kicked 7 goals in the 2 matches he's played since having the yips, which we discussed on this show on the Monday after it happened in round 9, and he was the sub last week and managed the 4 goals in the bog over there in Perth, and then kicked the 3 yesterday, and looked as though he didn't have a problem in the world when it came to seizing the moment and kicking the big goal.
Freo. That's almost the win of the year for me.
It just about is, isn't it? It really is.
Well, I mean, they're going to lose a game eventually, Melbourne. But to have that commanding a lead and also have the game so commandingly on their terms, and then to get smoked, they got belted.
So what happened? I didn't see it.
Well, they got hold of him around the ball, and Oliver was quietened by Aish. Petrarca, we now know, was unwell going in, so he had no impact. But
Darcy took on Max Gawn and Big Jackson, and Darcy, and Lob and Darcy took them both on, and Lob kicked 3 goals. It was probably, the more you think about it and analyse it, probably Lob's best game of the 130s played for 2 footy clubs.
And
in
May
terms
went
of
down, and they struggled.
May went down in the first 15 minutes and struggled. And Jim, as you said, they for the last 3 weeks they had 2 goals to their name at half time, inclusive of the game against Melbourne. In the previous 2 weeks, they only managed 10 in total, 6 and 4 in the 2 losses they'd had, and then they come out and kick 8 goals in the third quarter against the 17-match streak team of Melbourne.
That was so impressive. That that young midfield group they're putting together. If they can keep him healthy and keep him on that list, and when you consider that Chera left, and they've still got this incredible group of young mids, that was exciting to watch.
And Frederick, just a couple of
Roy,
moments, and that's the best tap goal assist for the whole year. Michael Walters, he'd been under pressure, and he's been a favourite of ours for probably a dozen years, but he had a slow start to 2022, but Justin Longmuir's kept him in, and we saw why, didn't we? A telling goal in that third quarter, and other moments
Sergeant
where he just stood up.
Sergeant getting on the end of it.
Nothing.
Great.
And Fife's got to come back.
Fife could come back as early as this week. The decision will be made in the next 24 hours.
Brisbane in Perth.
Oh, nice.
And then they've got Hawthorn, I believe, in Perth after that as well. Then the bye. So it's just a beautiful situation for them to be in. Looking forward to the matchup on Friday night. Aaron Norton playing against Sam De Koning in that.
Has he got the nomination this week for the NAB Rising
You'd think he would have to be, wouldn't you?
If he doesn't, that's
as far as I know, Bill, as of an hour ago, I don't think it was official, but it'd be staggering if he couldn't get the round 11 nomination.
It's been good. And they'll match him up with Norton.
He almost has to play him, doesn't he?
Norton.
Yeah.
And he's been out to... I tell you what, there's two different midfields there. See how much ball the Western Bulldogs boys got on the weekend? They were on fire, and that's where they're struggling a bit, the Cats, that midfield. So
and Gold Coast too, as we talk about positives here before we... they've been really good. They've got a chance now to go 6-6, game against North Melbourne upcoming. And I think if you're Stuart Dew at the start of the year, when King went down, you take that scenario every day of the week. And so we'll give them that win for the purpose of this conversation. And they're going to go to round 12 with a squared ledger.
I like it. And they're talking about re-signing Stewie Dew, which should be a great result.
Not sure they need to just yet.
I agree, but it's just nice that that's the talk.
The fact we're talking about it is the
rather than the
positive.
opposite, which we all thought would be the case. All right, we get to the other side of the ledger next.
It's the Rush Hour, Triple M. After 5, we're giving away double passes to Cam Bosis Jr. versus Haney, but right now Damian Barrett's in the studio chatting round 11.
All right, have we used up all the positives? Are we heading over the other side?
The kangaroo we just saw on the TV news break had more fight than the Kangaroos against St Kilda, didn't they, Jim? So 53 points following the 47 loss to Melbourne last week, Bill. Continuing the ordinary season. I know there's probably worse stories around the North Melbourne right now, but we might go to West Coast, which is worse because to get to round 11 with a percentage of 49.7, we discussed the percentage about 3 weeks ago on this show, 4 weeks ago. This is, just to remind people what we said then, this is Fitzroy of 96, this percentage. They had one win for the year and had a percentage under 50. It's GWS of 2012 when they played a bunch of 18-year-olds, Bill, in their first season. It's Melbourne of 2013, and we know how bad that particular team was. So
there's no kids there, is it, between 18 and 25?
No, and
no one to watch.
And the fact that Bulldogs got them by 101 points in round 11, we gave them a chop out and a cut out, didn't we? I think when it came to what happened at stages of this season, in the lead into it, and the early stages of what happened with the COVID and the health and safety protocols, which were subjected to the club. But I'm not giving them much. I'm not cutting them much slack.
Well, no, those days are now gone, and they've got best of their list back together again. So I'm with you. I think even Adam Simpson, if he was sitting here, would say, no, we can't be blaming any of that anymore. No,
you just can't, and that's the problem they've got. And Essendon has run out of excuses too. I mean, they had the flying the flag component to the week after they played the Sydney Swans when Luke Parker had that moment with Dylan Shield, but ultimately they've lost to Richmond flying the flag, and they lost again on the weekend to Port Adelaide. Now they're okay again, but it's only okay to be okay when you're 2-9, and that's what they turn at the halfway point of this year. And
having played finals last year with a young emerging list, they would be very disappointed to be where they are.
Talk about these clubs in a negative sense, Bill, just because of the problems it poses. You've already touched on the absence of May for 3.5 quarters and what that did against Fremantle. They're going to have to get through another game this week against Sydney, and as we speak, Buddy Franklin won't be part of that Swans outfit. He has taken that case to the tribunal, but it's going to require a rejig, isn't it, down back? And it might just be the time to give Luke Jackson what he has already said publicly a couple of times, that he wouldn't mind trying a role that centre-half back just for a game. Just
Luke Jackson?
Well, he wasn't at his
Tomlinson
best.
Was good in the VFL.
Tomlinson, you think, would come back in,
good.
wouldn't you? Yeah. It's amazing, though, when you take May out of that mix, and you then realise not just the punches and the intercepts and the disposal, which he's very good at, but it's the control of the entire team, isn't it, down back? I mean, when you call a game, you see him directing traffic, don't you? And he's not doing that. And the bigger issue, as you said, Bill, we did touch on it, but what Carlton does with Wiedering now being out, because they just don't have the replacements.
Who have they got?
Well, they've got a guy by the name of Camp, who is about 6'3", 6'4" in the old language, but hasn't suggested he's going to be able to play that role. Marchbank may come back, but he's going to need some footy through the VFL, you'd think, and therefore you've got left with Lewis Young, who was and Plowman, who are sort of not really up to it when you really want to set about being the big key defenders down back.
The other one was Oscar McDonald.
Yeah,
but
he's out for the year too.
He's out for the year.
He's out for the year. They've already ruled him out. So they'll look to take someone in the mid-season draft on Wednesday night this week, and it could be Durden, Jim, from the now back in the Sandful from North Melbourne. But again, coming outside the system into a team at halfway stage of a season is going to be a long way back. So I just hope for Carlton's sake they don't fall over because of injury, because also McKay's out and Pitnet's out and Williams is out, Martin is out, and McGovern's out. So it's a really serious injury list.
Yep. So they're going all right.
That would be a shame.
I got a question for you. I got a question for you too. At Brisbane, 2 Brisbane forwards, both restricted free agents. Okay, they're out of contract. Eric Hipwood and Dan McStay. Who do you sign up first?
I think you go with Hipwood.
Hipwood?
Yeah.
Coming back from a knee, he's been just going.
Yeah, I think he's there. And McStay has clearly got the interest of quite a few teams back here in Victoria. And it just has the appearance that one of them will go, and most likely McStay, the way it's shaping up now, Bill. But
who would you?
Well, if I'm a Melbourne list manager, I'm after McStay all day long.
So you'd sign him up if you're Brisbane. You sign him up, I would have thought.
Well, but it depends if he's hell-bent on leaving. I don't know where he's at. But his ability to contest in the air, be that long target down the line, never get outmarked, it looks like a beauty.
As your third forward?
Second probably. Yeah. But, I reckon he's got real value.
Yep.
Dan McStay.
Good question,
anything else? Nice question, Bill. Anything else,
question, Bill.
Purple, by the way? Or are we going to buses?
I think we'll go to the buses.
Buses?
Let's get to buses.
Oh, no. Oh, jeez, that's not good. Going to go to Melbourne?
No, we won't go to Melbourne. No, we just got those 3 teams we mentioned: West Coast, Essendon, and North Melbourne. The entire focus on a negative sense is on those 3 clubs, and as it should be, and as it deserves to be, and as it will be in the remaining 11 games of 2022.
I also, with the positives, loved Andrew Brayshaw's interview. Did you see that after the game?
No,
because he's the first time he's played in a team that's beaten Angus in the 6 years or 5 years or whatever he said. Anyway, he's giving me a lift home tonight, so I can talk to him about it in the car.
Good.
I love it.
And you'll probably party to that conversation they had that night, were you, Jim?
Anytime brothers have that sort of stuff going on, I absolutely love it.
Don't you love that? Yeah. Did Chad Warner come out and say he heard the siren?
Has he?
Has he? I'm asking you.
Well, I don't know the answer to that question.
Right,
it sounds like a loaded question.
Yeah, well, I just read something on.
Did you?
Just wanted to check it with you, but that's all right. Probably shouldn't have asked it.
You probably shouldn't have, Bill. Good to see you.
Anything else, Damian, to finish with?
No.
A little
gold nugget? Joke of the day?
Yeah, something?
No, Bill.
A little gold nugget.
Jeez, boring.
Good to see you, Purple.
See you.
Damo's recovery session.